Hello everyone. Today we are going to see how we can make use of ChatGPT for question answering from a specific category. If you have used the ChatGPT portal, so to try it out, let's go to chat.openai.com, and here you can ask any number of questions and it will be able to answer it. So ChatGPT will not give response specific to a category. It can give response to vast category. So basically in this session, we are going to create a prompt and that we'll be passing to the ChatGPT API and ask ChatGPT to answer the questions from a specific category and neglect all the other categories. Okay, so that is the use case that we'll be trying it today. I already have a project ready with me, that is multi-cloud chatbot. If you have been following our JDBots channel, you must be knowing that we are continuing with this multi-cloud chatbot. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah. So if you want to learn how we came up with this project and what all have been completed, you can just follow our videos. There are currently 7 of them. I'm just continuing and implementing our use case in the current solution. All right, so what I'm going to do, I will go to the main dialog. Inside our main dialog, we have integrated with, basically this project, we have integrated with CLU as well as custom question answering. Custom question answering from the language service. So for this, we will not be connecting to the custom question answering, and instead we will be replacing that with the ChatGPT. All right, so let's get started. So if the response from the top intent is not above 90%, then we will get the response from the ChatGPT. So let's go to this method, or instead let me create a new method. And let me create a method out of this. Okay. And let's implement this particular method in our utility service. I will hover over my interface name and implement interface. Okay, there we have. Let's make this as a thing. Okay. So now here we will be calling our ChatGPT API. Let's call that. Let me make use of my existing implementation and just copy paste that piece of code. So this is the particular method that I'll be calling here. Okay. And since this is deserializing it, we do not want that deserializing. We can just return a string value. And what does this method do? Creates an HTTP client, get the configuration, that is API endpoint, get the OpenAI API key, creates the body, and sends the post request. Here we are checking if the post request is successful or it is having success status code. We are storing the response in a string, and here we are passing that response. So instead of deserializing object, what I'm going to do, I'll just extract the response in a string. To do that, let's see the OpenAI documentation. Since we are using the chat completion, this is a sample response that I'll be getting. So I must get the body content, that is my response content from this, that is choices, 0, message, and content. All right. So this will be replying back with the GPT response. And here, let me call that particular method by passing my JSON object. Here, let me initializing a string value and let me put the request body in the string. And I can get it from the OpenAI documentation. So this is the one. Let me copy paste. And I can just get rid of this extra characters. Okay. Since I'll be just calling GPT-4, you can make use of GPT 3.5 Turbo as well, but I'll be making use of GPT-4. To make it configurable, I can also get it from the configuration file. Like this. And what is the property that I want to get? The property name is model. All right. Then messages, role, content, and this content I'll be replacing with the custom message that user has sent. So that is coming from my parameter text. And one of the main important things I would like to add here is our custom prompt, and that prompt will be a system prompt. And how we can add the system prompt? So here under messages, there is a one more object that I will be adding. Let me paste it in a notepad. Okay. This is a sample prompt that I'll be making use of. So this is a sample system prompt, and let me change the categories. So this says that you are an Q&A assistant. Follow the questions asked carefully. You must only answer the questions if they fall under the category. And I'm going to make use of the category that is multi-cloud. Multi-cloud and cloud computing. Okay. If the questions asked does not fall under this category, respond with I do not have answer to this question. Please rephrase. If the questions asked fall under the above category, answer them. You must never answer any question if they do not fall under the category. Okay. So let me copy paste this particular object into my JSON. and I want to get rid of all this RN. Okay, these RN as well. Do we have at any other places? No, I guess. Okay, this seems to be fine. Perfect. Now I want to make the categories again coming from my configuration file so that I can just tweak these details. Control X and let me add in the category configuration, open AI, Q&A category. Okay. And for this to work, let me add a new object here that is OpenAI. And what was the name of the category? That is Q&A category. That's the property name I will be adding. And let me paste that. All right. And along with that, I also need to add model. Next is API key, sorry, API endpoint. API key, we will not be keeping it here. Okay. So the model is GPT-4. As I said, you can also make use of GPT 3.5 Turbo. And let me get the endpoint. This is the one, chat completions. Okay, this seems to be fine. Next is the API key that I will not be putting it here. I need to put the API key in my key vault. Just going to my resource group and open the app configuration as well as open the key vault. Under secrets, I'll be creating a new secret. Open AI API key. And here I'll be just putting my API key. So let me get that API key and let me paste it here. Okay. So this is of type text / plain and create. All right. So OpenAI API key, and this is the place where I'll be just adding one property, and that property will be referencing my key vault. So the property name that I add here will be what we'll be using in our source code. So this is the property name that we'll be using in our source code. And let me select my key vault. And what is the secret? So my secret is OpenAI API key and apply. Now, in my application, I can directly make use of that OpenAI API key. Okay, so this property is set in our keyboard. All right, so now we can call this one from here. Let's get rid of this JSON body that is not required now. So return await GPT response, and we'll be passing the step context dot context activity dot text. So basically, we are retrieving the user's message from this particular method. That is step context activity dot text. From this property, we're retrieving the user's message. And let me fix the return tag. All right, so we are good here. And now we can just fix the return type in my interface as well. Instead of that, I did not add the return type. Instead, I can just send a message here, string. What is the message that I have received from ChatGPT? And here, what is the message I'll be sending? Exact same implementation that we are doing it here. And since this does not require a return type, I can just remove that. So return await step context dot send activity. And this is the way how I can send our ChatGPT response. All right, we are good to test. Let's run this application. Along with that, I also need to run my ngrok. Copy the ngrok URL, go to my bot configuration, replace here, apply the changes. Let's go to the teams. Okay, let's say hi to the bot and see if it is coming. Yes, something is processing. What can I help you with today? Now let's ask something. Who is the fastest man alive? Essentially, this response should not be come, but let's see. That's a good answer. I do not have answer to this question. Please rephrase. What is multi-cloud? And there we have a perfect response. Let's ask something as how to implement automation in Azure. Let's see if it does fall under this category, but let's see how it will implement it, how it will send me the response. It seems that the response is pretty large. That is why it is taking more time. Yes, it is still processing. Okay, there it is. Detailed steps. To implement automation in Azure, you can use Azure Automation cloud-based service. So that's really cool answer. And let's ask something which is not a cloud computing or multi-cloud category. Okay, that's a pretty quick answer. That is all from this session. Thanks, everyone.